CTV News with Caroline Van Vlartigan.
Good evening. The Trump administration is calling a bill to promote Quebec culture online a potential trade barrier. The U.S. has raised Bill 109 as a foreign measure it considers unfair in trade practices. Bill 109 seeks to promote cultural sovereignty and make it easier to find French-language cultural content online, meaning streaming services would have to promote and prioritize it for Quebec users. The plan has already faced resistance from Netflix, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. There is breaking news by the Washington Post tonight that the acting director of ICE in the U.S. will step down next month. Meantime, a Canadian man who was picked up by ICE and held in detention for months is now back in Montreal.
Family and friends, that means everything. That's the support that got me through this.
Douglas Dixon was met by his sister and other family after being banned from the U.S. for tax evasion. He owed the U.S. government $12,000 when he was picked up by ICE in February and detained at Alligator, Alcatraz, and another facility for 65 days. Now 61 years old, he lost his green card and had to leave his wife and children behind and is now back in a city and province he hasn't lived in for decades. An Ontario truck driver who crashed his tractor-trailer into several vehicles on Highway 30 has pleaded guilty to dangerous driving causing death. Court documents show that 29-year-old Balijit Singh was playing a game on his cell phone when he crashed into several vehicles in Brossard on July of 2022. A mother and her son were killed and 10 other people were injured. Singh fled to India the day after and was extradited to Canada after he was arrested in California in 2025. He's to be sentenced here June 4th. And there was a sentencing today for the man who killed 15-year-old Miriam Bendawi in a drive-by shooting. He was convicted on 1 count of first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. Here's Kelly Gregg.
30-year-old Salim Touebi is facing a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years for the murder of Miriam Bendawi. Judge Yvan Poulin saying today the man showed no responsibility or remorse for the crime and intended to kill even if she was not the intended target. Bendawi was killed in a drive-by shooting in 2021 in St. Leonard. The judge said today the 15-year-old was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was not involved in a conflict that led to the shooting. Touebi also faced 4 counts of attempted murder as other people in the car were hit. He was sentenced to 25 years for each of those cases, but the time will be served concurrently. During the proceedings today, the judge recounted a number of aggravating factors. Touebi was already on probation at the time for other weapons charges, that he used every bullet in the gun, the number of victims, and the fact that the shooting happened in a busy neighborhood. He added, this case goes to show the prevalence of gun crime in Montreal. Another victim, who we cannot name due to a publication ban, was left with severe physical issues and chronic pain. They used to be an athlete, but have since had to give up sports altogether. Justice Poulin also spoke about the courage the Bendawi family has shown through proceedings, saying it's especially painful to lose a 15-year-old with her whole life ahead of her. The family and lawyers didn't speak to reporters today, but Bendawi's sister did share their story after they gave their victim impact statements earlier this month.
Ça nous apporte un peu de soulagement, une petite paix. Merci à la justice. Mais elle est toujours là, la douleur, toujours avec nous. La douleur vit avec nous.
Saying there, the guilty verdict does give them some comfort, a small piece, but the pain is always there, and they'll always have to live with it. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
Dozens of support staff with the Montreal School Service Centre have been let go after refusing to comply with the province's new secularism law, one that extends the ban on religious symbols to everyone working within a school. Matt Gilmore reports.
The unions are particularly concerned about the impact on after-school daycare services. A single daycare worker is typically responsible for around 20 children, so you can imagine the ripple effect of losing too many of them. The new secularism law, Bill 94, does have a grandfather clause, but it only applies up until the date the bill was tabled, so March 19th of last year. Any worker who was hired or has since changed positions whether they wear a religious symbol or not, now has to sign a letter stating that they intend to comply with the law. If they don't wear one, they simply sign, it's no problem. If they do and refuse to sign, they have to be dismissed. At the CSSDM, the largest school service center in Montreal, around 40 workers so far have refused to sign and have been let go. The CSSDM also says that so far services have not been impacted, but they do admit it could make recruitment in the future harder. The real impact, though, according to the union, is being felt inside the schools. Michel Picard with the CSN says these daycare workers have been creating bonds with their students all year long, and he says there have been a lot of tearful goodbyes.
Donc, les élèves disaient « Pourquoi tu n'es pas là demain? » Les enfants pleuraient, ils ne comprenaient pas. Ben, elle dit « C'est parce que je ne peux plus revenir à l'école. » Donc, les enfants pleuraient, l'éducatrice pleurait, la directrice qui l'avait rencontrée pour lui dire que si tu ne signes pas, tu perds ton emploi, pleurait elle aussi.
He says all of the workers affected by this law are women, and for the ones who are protected by the grandfather clause, their possibility of career advancement has now effectively been taken away. Any change in position would cancel the grandfather clause. We also reached out to the English Montreal School Board. They refused to give any comment for the time being about the law. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
The leader of the Quebec Liberals says his government would not renew the notwithstanding clause, or would renew, I should say, the notwithstanding clause to protect Bill 96, Quebec's language law. The notwithstanding clause shields the French language law from legal challenges. Charles Milliard made the comments today at the National Assembly.
I am for the main objective of Bill 96, which is to protect French. And I've been talking to a lot of Anglophones and allophones about that. They're all about protecting and promoting French, even if my opponents say the opposite.
But Milliard said he would make two changes to the law. He would cut red tape for small and medium-sized businesses and remove the clause that says immigrants have to receive all services in French after 6 months in Quebec. Quebec's new Premier, Christine Fréchette, has also promised to protect the French language. And earlier today, we spoke with one of her close friends about the personal side of our new Premier.
Christine is a very, very sympathetic person. She's very funny, but she's also very clear-minded, very reasonable, very determined and courageous, and always ready to defend her opinions, but also very much listening to what other people have to say and making sure that we end up with the best consensus or what makes most sense.
Caroline Soriol has been friends with Fréchette since they were in their 20s. She describes her as reasonable and tactful, but also courageous and determined. You can see the full interview with Caroline Soriol about Christine Fréchette on our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Well, the risk of flooding around Montreal continues, and in Saint Jerome, the city decided to close a bridge because the water is just too high. Here's Matt Grillo.
Right behind me is the Rivière du Nord, and the sight of the water rushing downstream is quite impressive. A lot of people are coming to take a look, but it is also very concerning. You can see how powerful the current is. And the water level is so high up that it started to touch the base of a nearby bridge, the Vio Bridge. So the city has decided to close it as a precaution. Saint Jerome has also distributed more than 2,000 sandbags to citizens living by the water. There are a few streets and neighborhoods which are of particular concern because they have homes that back onto the water. But the latest info we have from the mayor's office is that there haven't been any floods yet. But of course, there is concern for what may come in the next few days. We heard from the mayor yesterday, who said melting snow from the Laurentians and rainfall are two issues the city has to deal with. South of here in Laval, the city says water levels are expected to increase for the next few days. This morning, crews were out building a dike along Riviera Street, right next to the Mille-Île River. And that's something that will take 5 days to install. We are expecting between 10 to 25 millimeters of rain to fall in the Montreal area, and that's particularly concerning because many rivers are being watched closely for flooding. Matt Grillo, CTV News, Saint Jerome.
Meantime, the City of Montreal has asked people to report potholes by calling 311, but one woman says she does that every year, and this year, no fixes. Here's Angela McKenzie.
This is the third time this year Nina Fragapane has contacted the city to report potholes on Rue Lacroix, the entryway to Angrignon Metro's parking lot.
Kind of looks like the surface of the moon because some of the potholes are very, very large and deep.
She says since 2023, she's flagged potholes here nearly 20 times.
Usually they're very good. They come the next day, they patch up the holes, but this year they're falling behind.
This year, some of her complaints are now marked as completed, but she says it never seems to be fixed.
It's horrendous because, you have to swerve, you have to go slowly.
Taxi driver Dave Dillon navigates these potholes every day.
This is the worst I've seen here. No, it's very hard. There's like so many. It's very hard to avoid.
He suspects a lot of cars are being damaged when they drive here to park.
But people come here once in a while. I'm sure they damage their wheels.
The City of Montreal declined our request for an interview. In an email, it says, "We are sparing no effort to prevent potholes in the long term. We have allocated $683 million for resurfacing programs in our 2026-2035 infrastructure plan." It adds it's each borough's responsibility to dispatch crews and says it transferred more funds to the boroughs last month and awarded patching contracts. It says nearly 15,000 potholes were repaired across the city. It also says people should continue to report potholes using 311.
It's the entrance.
But Nina says so far that hasn't worked well for her.
So I would like to see long-lasting work, not things that we have to repair like every few months.
So people like her can get to public transit without blowing a tire. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
Well, speaking of work, Montreal's blue-collar workers are at the end of a second day of a 3-day strike. This morning, some of them blocked the streets outside the Botanical Gardens at Sherbrooke and P9. Another group held a rally at the park on the Montreal side of the Jacques Cartier Bridge. The workers are asking for a 20% pay raise over 5 years. The city is offering about half that. Sharing too much online can be dangerous, and often we don't even know we're doing it. So some students at the study in Westmount have built an app that flags those risks before we post. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
Smile.
It's a perfectly ordinary photo of these teenage girls, but watch what happens when it goes through their app.
This image has a lot of risks.
Something you probably didn't even notice. The students have their school crest on their uniforms, and that small detail can be used by strangers online to figure out where they are. So the girls came up with a solution, an app called Safe Trace. Zinyi Zhang is the co-creator.
The AI analyzes potential risks and personal information that can be revealed from the image.
Built by these 5 students at the study, the app doesn't just flag the risks, it fixes them too. Using AI, it scans the pictures and alerts users to anything that could reveal locations or personal information. From there, it's up to the user to decide what they want to remove. And in seconds, the app provides the safe version of the photo.
Say you have a public account and you upload it, people can dox you because they can use this address and say, oh, you live on this street, you live in this city.
The students created the app as a way to prevent anyone from being a victim of doxing, which is the malicious act of sharing someone's private information online. According to the governments of Canada, women are more often targeted than men, and 1 in 3 young women have experienced some form of online harassment. Amelia Leogis is the director of IT.
My hope is that we can show that young girls can change the world.
A free app made by these students to keep all women safe. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Terrace weather will soon be here, and now the city wants to make it easier for restaurants to set them up downtown. Here's Olivia O'Malley.
Despite the weather, Le Pois Plancher is looking forward to terrace season. It's being installed in May, and the city is making it cheaper to set up.
I think it's going to be beneficial, and we want our clients to enjoy it and to have a great summer this year.
The Ville-Marie borough is reducing the cost for restaurateurs. Terrace permits will be cheaper until 2030. The price will differ per establishment, but the mayor says a restaurant on St. Catherine Street could save thousands of dollars.
The city of Montreal is a wonderful city, a better city because we have terraces, and downtown core doesn't have to be an obstacle because the cost is too high.
Ferreira Cafe is in the heart of downtown on Peel Street. Group Ferreira's general director, Sandra Ferreira, says she estimates the measure will save them $1,200.
Restaurants' margins are very slim, so any amount is good. And you know what? It's the first amount that I'm hearing lately that has gone down and not up.
2 years ago, during F1 weekend, the restaurant was told to kick customers off its packed terrace and close down. The fire department says it was not up to code. Since then, Ferreira says communication with authorities has tremendously improved.
I'm hopeful that this will not happen. We have the support from the mayor and her team, and as well as the firefighters, so hopefully we'll all be good this summer.
The fire department is assuring restaurant owners it's changed its approach.
Instead of using repression, we're doing it in a more collaborative way. We're also in much better communication. In the last couple of years, we've established better communications with the boroughs.
Ferreira's terrace will look something like this starting Monday, setting up for an early and hopefully warm Grand Prix weekend in May. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
Still ahead, a new call to ban energy drinks in schools. There's a new call to ban the sale of energy drinks to teenagers, and it comes from a coalition of parents, schools, and unions after a 16-year-old died after drinking a can of Red Bull. Stéphane Giroux reports.
If it was up to many school principals in Quebec, it would be illegal to sell energy drinks like these to teenagers, just like cigarettes.
We've been banning them at the school for nearly a decade, but now to see that it can actually, for a lot of these kids, lead to something as serious as arrhythmia and even death.
Zachary Miron was an athletic teenager who died 2 years ago during a ski outing after drinking a can of Red Bull. He was on ADHD medication. The mix caused a heart arrhythmia, leading to his sudden death. His story turned his parents into activists to restrict the sale of energy drinks.
Oui, je sens que la tragédie commence à réveiller le monde.
Every tragedy is a wake-up call, says Miron, who's gathered 16,000 signatures on a petition to ban the sale of the drinks to children under 16. Dozens of brands are available on store shelves, many containing more than 4 times the amount of caffeine found in a cup of coffee. Just last week, a family in Texas launched a $1 million wrongful death lawsuit against an energy drink maker after their daughter, Larissa Rodriguez, also suffered from a caffeine-induced arrhythmia.
It was really hard. This is the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my life.
The medical examiner did 100 different tests, all negative, and the only finding was caffeine.
2 weeks ago, Zachary's parent met with Quebec's Health Minister Sonia Bélanger, who said the government is seriously considering banning the drinks for people under 16. It couldn't come a moment too soon, according to educators.
We've done it in the past for cigarettes, for vaping, for screens.
Because for some parents, one preventable tragedy should be enough to force policy change. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Well, the Stanley Cup playoffs are set to begin. The Canadiens will play their first game Sunday in Tampa against the Lightning. But here in Montreal, businesses and restaurants are also getting ready. Here's Christine Long.
We've got the reopened Peel Pub has their new craft brew available just in time for playoff fever.
Sure, bringing in the fans will help Peel Pub, especially when we just open.
Playoff hockey means paying customers, which is a real bonus on weeknights, says Ziggy Eichenbaum, who's doubling up on stock orders for his bar.
40% up
And it's a lot nicer when it's during the week instead of the weekend, because the weekend we're busy anyway with the tourists and everybody else. But during the week when they play, a lot of the followers come down.
The kitchen stays open late at Chez Alexandre on nights when there's a home game during the playoffs.
25–30% more business when the hockey game in Montreal.
It's all coffee.
At Sports Crescent, Santana Enrique is excited, but knows clients' spending follows the Canadians' wins.
This is Caulfield. It go for regular price is $240, but we put them $179 because we don't want to get stuck with, because in case they be out after a few games.
Enrique doesn't want to be stuck with overstock like he was a few years ago.
We know in 2021 they took the Canadian out after 5 games only.
Mayor Soraya Martinez-Ferrada is optimistic for this season.
When we do the series, it's good for business. It's good for just having people happy.
Your mood drives your spending behavior.
Payment data shows that in 2021, during the Canadian Stanley Cup final run, spending on food and drinks around the Bell Centre surged by 183%. That can happen again.
When consumers can see it and feel it, they feel like they're a part of it. And when you feel like you're a part of something, you want to get in on the action. And it costs money to get in on the action.
That action begins this weekend.
We're expecting the Habs to win and head to the next round. So we're looking forward to them coming into play new.
Go Habs, go!
Because every win at home for the Canadians is a game changer for businesses in the downtown core. Christine Long, CTV News.
And the STM and the Canadians have teamed up to support Habs Fever heading to the Bell Centre.
Prochaine station, Mont-Royal.
Prochaine station, Lucien de l'Allier.
Prochaine station, Edouard Montpetit.
Prochaine station, P9.
Starting today and throughout the Canadians' playoff run, Habs players will be calling out approaching metro stops. The messages can be heard on lines headed to the Bell Centre, whether there's a game on or not. And still to come, a new song from Celine Dion ahead of her return to the stage.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Weather, brought to you by Gratian-Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, after this week, you're probably thinking, rain, rain, go away. We may just get that wish. But turning to our almanac, we see that we had a pretty perfectly seasonal day. Our normals have once again moved up. So that normal daytime high is sitting at 12, and that is what we were forecasting as our high for the day. But here's what we have coming tonight. We're expecting it to be another warm one. So a low of 9 degrees. That's along with mainly cloudy skies. We're forecasting holding on to those cloudy skies as we head into tomorrow morning. Our wake-up temperature is sitting at 7 degrees. And then as we head into the afternoon, that's where we can expect to see some sunshine and possibly hit a double-digit high of 17. So here's what our futurecast is showing us. Of course, the system that brought us rain earlier today has cleared out. And as we head toward noon is when we start to see those clouds breaking apart. So by later on in the evening, early evening, we can expect to see that sun. The question is, how long will that stick around? Well, possibly into Saturday before roughly 11 millimeters more of rain comes in on that day. But here's another special thing about Saturday. We could hit that double-digit high of 21. So that would be roughly twice as warm as what we'd expect to see at this time of year. Make the most of that if you can, because on Sunday we could see roughly 3 millimeters more of rain in the morning before we see varying mixes of sun and clouds as we head toward the middle of next week.
Well, just ahead of her big planned comeback in Paris, Celine Dion has released a new French song. The song is called Dansons. It was written by her collaborator Jean-Jacques Goldman, but is their first track together since 2016. It celebrates resilience in the face of the world's turmoil and acknowledges her own health struggles. And that will do it for us tonight. For the latest news, you can listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show at 5 on CJAD 800. And of course, you can always head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca for extended coverage. Thanks for staying up late with us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.